course, because, well, I have been detained by the same group, so I can associate myself with, well, everything that these hostages are going through. And I have also an idea of what their relatives, what their families, what their friends are going through.
And how do you feel, having been very directly involved, about this whole principle of negotiating or not negotiating with hostage takers?
Well, that's a difficult question, and there is no obvious answer. Myself, I could even say that I was pretty much against any kind of negotiation up to the very minute I've been taken hostage myself. And I wished there would be negotiation for my release. Since that minute. And by the way, it's important, I think, to notice that there are doctrines that are publicly advertised by countries like the Americans or the UK, saying we do not never ever negotiate with hostage takers or with terrorists because we don't want to empower them, and we have some resilience, and we are not weak countries like old Europeans, and so on and so forth. But if you look at the track record, I mean, France has lost a number of hostages over the last year who have been killed. And if you look at the track record, I mean, yes, the US have lost a number of hostages who have been killed in the last months, but they also had 2 hostages released, and obviously through negotiations. So, I mean, there is on one hand a public policy that is advertised, and on the other hand, there are things going on, behind the curtains.
There is, of course, the humanitarian side to it, but there's also the fact you are a working journalist, and if you're a journalist in a war zone with a price on your head that's going to be paid, that inevitably is going to make it more likely that you or your colleagues are going to get kidnapped, doesn't it?
Yes, sure. And, it's also a debate about the freedom of the press on one hand and the responsibility of journalists on the other. Yes, when I was taken, I was, in Syria because of my decisions to go to Syria. I mean, nobody could have told me, do not go there. My government was not allowed, because this is the freedom of the press, to tell me, do not go there. But this being said, well, when I've been taken, yes, I jeopardized the policy of my country. And that's a problem.
Were you able to gather much useful intelligence about the people who were holding you hostage? Because that might be one of the plus sides if one or both of these hostages are released. Yes,
I mean, this group is extremely careful not to release, to release as little intelligence to their hostages as possible, potential intelligence. So during my 10 months in captivity, I have seen virtually no face except for Mehdi Nemmouche, that I formerly, as presumed killer of the Jewish Museum in Brussels, that I formally recognized. And I have had just few ideas about the location where we were. And this is also something the hostage takers were careful at. And actually, when you are hostage, you feel good about that, because if your captors are careful not to show you too much, it means that, they, in their mind, potentially you will be out one day.
What about what actually happened to you? Did you feel that you were being tortured both physically and psychologically in terms of your life being played with so publicly?
It was a very difficult time.
Nicolas Henin, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
No problem.